Pop culture usually imagines finding a lost city as a trek through unexplored jungle, parting the canopy to reveal a massive, pristine stone temple. Historically documented megacities tell a different story. Akkad, the seat of the world's first empire, remains entirely missing despite modern LiDAR and satellite technology. Traditionally, the search relied on the brute force assumption that if you move a high enough volume of Earth, a palace wall will eventually appear. Shifting river courses, millennia of flooding, and climate shifts have ground these capitals down. Environmental forces have effectively erased them from the landscape. Modern research has transitioned toward analyzing the specific forces that cause these urban centers to vanish. We evaluate discoveries across two metrics: scientific value and pop culture hype. Targets like Atlantis sit in the top left: high hype, zero science. The actual frontier is the bottom right: administrative records like Irasagrig's clay tablets, providing dense, actionable data on state functions. Professional archaeology now prioritizes the high signal data found in this lower right quadrant. This data reveals the mechanics of daily survival and the specific environmental triggers that led to systemic collapse. Structures like the Ishtar Gate in Babylon demonstrate the massive centralization of power and agricultural surplus required to maintain a walled megacity. Concentrating a population behind walls provided immediate security from rival armies and allowed for a highly organized, efficient society. This concentration of power created a state of environmental parasitism. To sustain thousands of people in a single dense point, the city must exhaust the water, food, and fuel of its surrounding landscape, operating at a permanent ecological deficit. This dependence makes urban populations hyper-vulnerable to climate shifts. In Palenque, the surrounding jungle ecosystem eventually reclaimed the city, and the stone structures were torn apart by the returning forest. In the ancient Middle East, the city's demands stripped the land. Over-extraction and intensive irrigation eventually turned fertile plains into barren desert. The walls built to protect humans from external threats ultimately severed the symbiotic relationship with the land they needed to survive. The victory stele of Naram Sin records the historical grandeur of the Akkadian Empire, but its capital has no surviving physical footprint. Short-lived imperial capitals in floodplains are notoriously difficult to locate. Locating these sites requires massive modern inputs, including deep subsurface coring and extensive geoarchaeology to see beneath the current surface. Because these cities were only occupied for a few centuries, they never built up into the 40-meter-high mounds or tells that define long-term settlements. Modest ruins are easily buried under layers of silt or eroded by shifting river channels that carve new paths through the plains. The hunt for these specific political capitals often yields a low return on investment relative to the financial and scientific effort required. Our understanding of missing cities often depends on the antiquities market. The tablets from Irasagrig, seen here as scattered artifacts at a repatriation event, were largely recovered through looting after 2003. These clay tablets recover incredibly granular data. They record the daily mechanics of the state, from worker rations to canal inspections. Looting permanently destroys the archaeological context, the specific location in the ground where the tablets were found. Properly excavated sites allow researchers to study diet, disease, and physical conditions. This provides high-signal data on how human populations reacted to historical climate change. The antiquities market provides evidence of how the people of Irasagrig lived, but the loss of context means we may never know where they lived. An ancient city functions as an artificial environment, designed to separate human populations from the natural world. This separation creates systemic fragility, making the population dependent on imported and often unsustainable resources. Visually stunning ruins like Pompeii are statistical anomalies, preserved only by a sudden catastrophe like a volcanic eruption. The historical failure rate for ancient cities is 100% once their environmental inputs run dry. We can use a decision matrix to evaluate where to invest our intellectual attention when looking at the past. For those seeking entertainment, anomalies like Pompeii provide the best visual record. Clickbait regarding mythical sites like Atlantis can be safely ignored. An academic focus yields the highest return in fields like geoarchaeology, remote sensing, and the analysis of administrative texts. A systems thinker should prioritize the study of centralized, non-symbiotic populations and their vulnerability to environmental collapse. Ultimately, the most actionable historical lessons come from the mechanics of why these complex systems eventually broke down.